What's going on, fellas? Sean here at Hammerhead Garage. Welcome to the Sunday night Spitball. I just got myself, I'm actually having a tea tonight. It's an Earl Grey tea. I like to drink that once in a while, so just giving her a little dose here and getting her all done up. And that way my voice won't dry out. So what's happening? Mr. Will Sanders is in the house. Howdy, howdy. What's going on, fellas? Sunday night. We had an amazingly warm day here in Canada today, in Nova Scotia, but I think all across the country. It was plus 16 degrees here at 3 o'clock and sunny, and we lost probably about a half a foot of snow today. So right on, man. That's what we want. I've been friggin' when that snow came last week and the minus 20 with it, I just about threw up, to be completely honest. Stuff and things is going on, Will says. Elaborate, my man. What kind of things? What kind of stuff? But anyway, yeah, so it was kind of a nice day to get out and move around a little bit. I actually fired up the Ranger today, and I let her get up to operating temperature and cycled the fan a few times and checked the oil and stuff like that. And she's survived her winter pretty good so far. So as the days get warmer here, I'll get her out more and more. And so I haven't actually driven it yet because it's like, as you can imagine, all that snow melting up here, it's like a bloody quagmire. There's probably about a foot of dirt or a foot of mud and muck. Hoppy's Junkyard Rally. What's up, my man? So I didn't want to take the dog for a walk today because I was worried that he was going to sink up past his belly in friggin' mud. It was so dirty. So I didn't do that. I just walked him around and around and around on the same spot in the yard. There was a snowy patch out there, and he was looking up at me like, what's going on here? Like, is this all there is? Right? But anyway, it was nice to see good weather for a change. So I'm just brewing myself a tea, believe it or not, in my precision drilling mug that I got when I was out west. Oh, that's the stuff right there, fellas. Yes, sir. So what's up tonight, Hoppy? I can't wait, man, to see your road trip adventures. When are you leaving? Next week or something? That's going to be cool. I've always wanted to go down Route 66. I thought that would be awesome to do. But of course, with the old beer bug that's been floating around, travel going anywhere, just a trip to the grocery stores, amazing nowadays, right? Which is sad, but whatever. So what I was doing today was, yep, right on. I'm out to head out west on an epic parts run. Yeah, I saw your video there. I was like, so you're taking the head that's on the engine now, and you're going to go get another head. Is that what's happening? So that's cool. Hopefully it'll be something that'll be a little better suited maybe for what you're doing. I can't wait to see that truck run. I think it's going to be it's going to be a riot when you get it dialed in, dude. You know, like you're going to hurt some feelings with that thing. I'm pretty sure. Right. But anyway, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. So for my turbo project, I spent most of the internet. You did a little trading, and that's how I get a lot of my shit too. I call it horse trading, but it's basically, that's what it is. I find somebody that wants some of the stuff I have, and they might have something I need. So that's kind of what I do. But anyway, I've been checking out fuel systems for my turbo build. Holy frig, boys. I thought for a little while there that the fuel pump that I have was going to be okay because I've got a Holly Blue. I just put it on last year. And it's not going to cut the mustard for turbo, I don't think, is what it's looking like. It will pump up to 14 PSI, but I don't know. Everyone's pointing you towards these Aeromotive A1000 pumps. I would like to see something that didn't cost so much here in Canada. And let me share my screen. I'll show you what I'm looking at. You guys probably know what this pump is anyway, but just 1 minute, 1 second here. Let me just find it. Chrome tab. Yeah, so I think you guys can see that. This is the pump that they're telling me works the best for boosted applications. I'm going full screen with this. Yeah, I can sort of see that. But the problem is that they're bloody, that and the regulator and a fuel filter, you're looking at almost $1,000 here in Canada. No, Hoppy, I got off a face crook. I just got tired of it. It was dragging me down. They wouldn't let you do anything. Yeah, so what are your thoughts on this pump, Will? Like, it's $1,000 for this stuff. Like, they're telling me that the Holly Blue pump won't work with what I'm doing. Because I guess it's not the pressure, it's the flow. It doesn't flow enough. It's a lot of money, man. Like, I'm hoping I can find a better alternative that doesn't cost so much. But I mean, I was prepared to run a pretty decent boost reference fuel pressure regulator, but to have to change my whole system, like my whole fuel system, you're going to be looking at a lot of money there, right? So anyway, this should flow. It says here, if you read the applications, it says carbureted engines, up to 1,050 flywheel horsepower and up to 840 flywheel horsepower in forced induction. Oh, that's E85. Gas is 1,200 horsepower. That'll do it. But what does it actually flow here? Shit, man, it doesn't say. I think it's a pile of fuel. View installation instructions. Yeah, but see, then you got to buy this doodad here. You got to buy the fuel filter. It's some sort of screen deal, and that's $100 on top of the $1,000 for the other stuff. I wish I could just find a fuel pump that would work fairly well. Now, they do have a, what is it here? I wrote it down. It's called a QFT. It's a quick fuel 30-175 pump that'll flow enough. And it's about $300 cheaper. But then I got reading that the problem with that pump is that it is not made for like full-time use in an automobile. It's only made for like a drag racing application where you just be doing a quarter mile at a time of running. I don't know why they don't build them to run on the street, but apparently it overheats, or I don't know what it is. But guys are telling me that the Aeromotive pump, is more than I'll ever need for any type of fuel pump for a carburetor, and even EFI, right? But yeah, but anyway, that's something else we got to build into the price of this whole thing. So it's getting more expensive every time. Maybe I should just get off the internet altogether, because every time I go on there to look at something, the price keeps going up. So this cheap turbo deal is turning into a not so cheap turbo deal, even if I build it myself. But anyway, most guys probably have already done the turbo thing in a 4-cylinder, so they've got a boost gauge and they've got a lambda sensor, oxygen sensor, all that kind of jazz. And they've got some other parts laying around maybe that they can use towards it. I don't, unfortunately, have any of that, because I was always a motor guy, pretty much. I've had, like I said, a supercharged motorcycle, and I had a 92 Volkswagen Golf that had a pretty stout motor, turbocharged motor in it. But yeah, it's never that cheap. It's like LS swaps. Everyone's like, oh, you just go to the junkyard and you get a 5.3 and you chuck her in there and you get a couple of cheap GT35 turbos on eBay. But if you're to add up all the little pieces and all the odds and ends, you're way into the money, right? But anyway, I'm still going to do it. I didn't say I wasn't going to do it. It's just, it's going to take me a while to get the pieces together, especially if I got to now redesign my whole fuel system. See, the problem is I'm running the stock Ranger fuel tank. If you guys know what the one in the 84 is, it's got a friggin' 5/16 plastic fuel line comes out of it. So the line itself is kind of a bottleneck coming out of the fuel tank, because they're saying that this aeromotive pump, they want to see you run a, what is it, an 8AN type line, which is basically what, a 3/8 almost type fuel line for a feed and then a return. I was planning on doing a return anyway, but yeah, I mean, just the friggin' price of a AN hose is like $100 for 20 feet of it. So I mean, you need that twice times plus all the fittings. I mean, it adds up, right? But whatever. Pay once, cry once, I guess. That's the deal. If you price fuel line, that'll make you faint. Yeah, no doubt, buddy. I mean, it'll just make you poo-poo your khakis, right? If you get into the price of everything. It'll all be worth it, though, boys. The first time I spool her up, break the tires free at 60 miles an hour, it'll just, and that permagrin that gets etched on your face, it'll totally be worth it. But until then, I guess I got to just cry and eat more craft dinner so that I can afford expensive parts. But that's what you got to do, right? I guess so. $400 American in fuel line and fittings. Frig me, man. And see, now let's take that $400 you got in fittings and let's move all that shit up into Canada. So that $400 worth of shit you got for fuel line and fittings has now, just because it went over an imaginary border, it's now $750 Canadian. So think about how much harder it is for us poor Canadian buggers up here that are trying to get this stuff, right? Yeah, by the looks of me, it doesn't look like I'm missing too many meals anyway. So I can afford to not have as many chocolate bars or cut back on a few donuts to put towards the turbo fund, right? It'll be better for my health, and it'll also make me lighter so that the truck goes even faster. See, I'm just about ready to put myself on my my spring diet, I call it, which is I lose a bunch of weight in order to make my shit quicker. So, I can afford to go fast for cheaper, right? So maybe next week on the Spitball, we'll have recipes for losing weight for poor guys that want to increase performance on all the stuff like their motorcycle. And, it's the best, cheapest way to go faster is to lose weight, right? Off the driver and off the car or vehicle if you can, right? Lighter is better. Lighter's quicker, right? Like I've said that time and time again. You have a friggin' lightweight little truck versus a very, very heavy truck with a high horsepower engine. And if your stuff works and hooks up, you're going to beat them. I'm limited to 1 pack of ramen a day. Yeah, well, that's, and those guys that smoke too, I don't know how you can even friggin' afford to smoke in 2021. What's a pack of cigs cost nowadays? It's probably like the mortgage for your house up in Canada. I don't know what it is down in the States. I know a guy that afforded a fishing trip just by cutting out daily trips to get coffee every day. He did that for like 6 months and he had enough money for a fishing trip. So I guess there's $8. So that's still pretty reasonable, I think. But I think up in Canada here, man, they're like 20. But I don't smoke, so I don't know. But I think last time I remember is they're around $20 for a pack. But everything's more expensive up here. But yeah. So anyway, who was it? Hang on here. I got to check something. There's one of my subscribers has a pretty cool little car here. I want to get you guys to have a look at it. It's a Ford, of course, and it's boosted and it's cool as hell. And I'll put the link up here in the chat. You guys go check it out. Razuko. You guys know who Razuko is? Let me put the link to his channel on here. But go check he's got a Crown Vic. It's an old one though, but it's cool as hell. It's boosted. It's a 351 and it's got a turbo in it. But I was asking him if it was quick, and he said, yeah. He says, it'll freaking go. I bet it goes. Yeah, so right there. That's, now that I've done this, I don't know how to get this off the screen. But anyway, I have to figure that out. This will be on the screen all night. But that's his channel. Go check out his shit. It's pretty cool. Hide. Okay, I see how to do that. I just learned something. I learned how to do that. So today wasn't a total loss, you know. I get up and put my pants on, my big boy pants and my socks and stuff for a reason, I guess now. Yeah, there's a little button there, Will, to remove. So I just clicked it to go off. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I was talking to him this week, and his shit looks pretty awesome. I think it's an 85 Crown Vic, and he's got GT40 heads on it, and he's got a pretty good sized turbo. Actually, I think he was saying it was too big. It was like an 80 millimeter or something, and it was taking like a day for it to spool up. But once he gets it rolling, I guess he says it was crazy. It's just crazy. See, I've been trying to get like these guys that have turbos and stuff. I'm quizzing them to find out what fuel system you're running. The blow-through carburetor doesn't have me worried because I know I can knock that out of the park. It's the fuel system, getting enough fuel to the motor with a good pump. The Holly Blue pump I bought last year, it cost me like $350 Canadian. It's got to come off because it's not going to, even for 6 PSI, it's not going to do the business. So I'm going to have to rethink my, and the lines and stuff too. I'm going to have to rethink all of that. Now, luckily, this fuel pump that's on my truck right now, I have it wired properly to a relay. So it's all wired up. I've got a toggle switch in the dash. I can turn the pump on and off if I want. Ideally, it should be wired to a pressure sent to the oil pressure switch too, so that if I lose oil pressure, the pump shuts off, just to save your motor. But yeah, I'm kind of thinking though that I might want to do something to make my boost lag to come in a little bit later though, because it might help in the traction department, seeing as the Ranger's so bloody light. Like I'm sure, Hoppy, when you get your bitch rolling there, you're going to be spinning the tires like crazy too, right? If you're not already. But when you're dealing with something like what I'm going to be doing, it obviously is going to be traction limited. So if I can figure out a way to just kind of ramp it in slower, it's almost like a progressive nitrous controller. You ramp the nitrous hit in gently over a period of so many seconds. You ramp it from like 25% nitrous up to like 50 to like 80 to like 100. There's probably a way to do that with turbo as well. Like just add like 2 intercoolers or something. Not that I need it at 6 PSI, but there's a way to do it for sure. I do launch off the 2-step at 4,800 and 18 pounds of boost. Yeah. See, that's crazy, man. And when you get a head on there that'll flow more, and it's going to be a different truck to you. You can put head studs in there, or if you don't have them already, better head bolts and better gasket and friggin' up the boost. And just, you send the rods through the hood. My 5-speed wouldn't hold it. Yeah. What are you running for? Is it the 4-cylinder 5-speed that you got in there? If it is the 4-cylinder 5-speed in there, just run a V8 T4. Or sorry, T5. It'll handle that. I don't know what you're putting out for power, but I mean, it's enough. I can tell by your videos that, the thing hauls really good. And, you're going to go to a C4. That's right. You told me that. So yeah, so now you'll have a trans brake, probably. I would imagine that's what you're going to do. And you can put it on the 2-step, rev the balls off it, and friggin' let go of the button and get her to hook. And put that thing on a diet and just take a Zalza and cut as much of it away as you can to make it super light. I think you've done that already for the most part from what I've seen, but make her lighter. I mean, the standard Ranger cab, which is what you have the same thing I have basically. I think 84, 83, 84, 85, 86 are basically the same truck. Gen 1, right? They're light. They don't weigh a whole lot anyway, but anything you can do to get it lighter, the better you're gonna end up being. Rip every single thing out of it. Yeah, I mean, just got it. I mean, you want to go quick and have a truck to fool around in. I'm sure this isn't your daily driver, so I mean, you can just do whatever with it, right? Take it out and beat the snot out of it. And 2600 factory, yeah, that's what mine weighs, is 2660 with the V8 in it. But I've got aluminum heads and I've got a T5 in it and a few things that weigh less than the AOD that was in it, and so I get away with that much weight. Now the turbo stuff's going to add a little bit of weight, but I've also got the power there too, right? So, but no, just trying to figure it out without running the deed through my house, through these places where I get parts from, is the idea. We're going to have to figure out something that works, that you don't have to spend a fortune. But I guess realistically thinking, if you don't spend the money on a good fuel system, there's no point anyway, because you're just going to melt the thing down. So that's probably where you should spend your money. It will keep your front end down. Yeah, definitely. Get some weight transfer, man, so you can get the friggin' bite on the rear tires, and just let her eat. I don't know how you can spin them 2.3s, but you probably go to 7 with them, I'm sure, before they start crying in agony. I'm sure that they when you get them spinning, they keep spinning anyway. Oh, good thing you didn't build a 2.3. Well, you never know. I might end up going that route yet. Twin turbo the bitch and put 50 pounds of boost through it. 8,500 with the head I have now. Holy whistling. Yeah, you're going to want to make sure that you got her all set up so that you get the right piston, the valve clearance like we were talking about. And you're running good springs. You can't get away with mediocre springs at those revs. You want to have good springs on it and good bolts to hold all that pressure down there and keep it in the cylinders. You want a cam that's not too radical. You want something that's the lift is, whatever, but the duration isn't too much and you don't have a whole ton of overlap. You're going to want something to keep the boost pressure, the cylinder pressure in the thing, right? That's how you're going to make power with that. But yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be cool. But yeah, so not much else going on, eh? Just like I said, I thought it was Christmas today when I looked outside, and it was just like so warm, and you friggin' see all the ice melting off of shit. And the dog near had a heart attack when a big piece of ice came off the steel roof there this afternoon and made an awful crash. He was dead asleep on his bed behind me here, and he just about had a stroke. Yeah, it's just something you want to do whenever you're putting an unknown head on your engine. Is just check piston to valve clearance. It's dead simple to do. You don't have to do it on every cylinder either. Just pick the front cylinder, bring it up to TDC, throw some Play-Doh just across the valve reliefs. Doesn't have to be a lot of Play-Doh, but put some on there. Throw your old head gasket on, put the head on, run the bolts in until they're snug. They don't even have to be tight, just snug. And then put your rocker gear and push rods and all that in, spin the engine around a couple of revolutions, pull it all off. You should see where the valves from the head make an indentation into the Play-Doh. Then you just take a knife, cut that, measure it with a set of calipers, and then you know what your clearance is. Like I said, as a general rule, you want 80 thou on the intake and 100 on the exhaust, and then when the thing go to the valves, then you're sure, right? Twin turboing it this winter, holy shit, that'll be something. I just want to see you get this thing rocking and rolling, right? Oh man, I'm no expert when it comes to boosted stuff. I built a lot of engines, but I've never built a lot of boosted engines. But I know the principles. I've read a lot. And I know basic engine building principles that you know they transfer to boosted engines as well. Only with boost is you just got to know that the pressures are higher. It's like building a really souped up, super high compression engine, like a 13-to-1 or something, 12-to-1. You got to be able to handle that excess heat and the excess fuel requirements, and the cylinder pressures are going to be higher. The pressure on your transmission, all that's going to be higher. So you're going to need to account for all that. That's basically how you build it. I mean, guys say you got to run forge this and forge that. You know what? If you got the money and you got the engine apart, go ahead and build. You know, that's definitely a smart idea. But there's been guys that have run a lot of boosts through cast rods, cast cranks, cast pistons because they got the tune up right. That's where tuning comes in. If you got the tune up right, i.e., you got the right amount of fuel in the thing and you got your timing sorted out, you can push unbelievable amounts of limit or power through some of these so-called marginal setups. Right, here I go with the fingers like my grade 10 science teacher used to do, the marginal. You can run a lot of stuff through that, and the thing will hold together. In any case, yeah, the stuff's always cool. Like people used to say, if you want to figure out where the weak limits of your stock stuff is, just run some boost through the engine. You'll figure it out really quick, right? I don't want anything too radical. That's why I'm going to keep the boost pressure sensible, because I still want to daily this truck. In the summertime, I like to drive it from when the snow disappears right up until the first snowfall. I like to drive it. You know, you want to get your enjoyment out of it, right? So, yeah, stock bottom ends, they'll take an awful pounding, man. They'll take a lot more than most folks think. But like I said, it depends on how you drive it too. Nothing's going to last, even the very best parts, if you're retarded around it, like you're abusing the crap out of it, nothing will ever stay together. But you know, if you're sensible with it and you creep into the power and you don't like hit it and power shift the crap out of it and just beat it up all the time, it'll last a fair amount of time, right? More than enough time to get your money's worth out of it. But I guess a turbo engine or supercharged engine doesn't have to be measured in hours. I mean, unless you're like full out, like just beating it, like drag strip all the time with it, in which case, you expect to tear it down a lot more. They say 500 racing hours is a long time. That's about the life of most engines. I know a guy that had one that he'd run 200 passes down the drag strip, and then there's other guys that'll run 50 passes down the strip, and then they're taking the head off. And if you're going to run it hard, it's probably a good idea to learn how to do a leak down test. And every time you come back from running it hard, when the engine cools down or whatever, just run a leak down on it. That'll tell you everything you need to know, whether the valves are sealing or there's a problem with the pistons or your ring sealing problem or whatever. The gauge don't lie, right? Because you put 100 pounds of air pressure in on top of the piston, and the amount that leaks out, that's what your leak down is. Anything as far as like performance, anything 10%, more than 10%, I would seriously look at finding out why. You'll have some guys that'll say 15%, but I think that's too much. I've rebuilt a few really good motors, and they had, after the ring seated, they had between 3 and 5% leak down. So remember that if you don't, the closer you get to that no leak down number, the more power it's going to produce, because you're able to take advantage of all that extra cylinder pressure to make power. No engine is ever like 100%. No leakage at all. You're always going to have some. Boosted engines, your VE, your volumetric efficiency goes up. I think the stock small block Ford V8 is right around 80%, if I remember correctly. That's assuming you're at zero altitude. You're not like at 5,000 feet above sea level. So you got a full 14.7 atmosphere PSI going in the cylinder. But that's not always the case. All kinds of things can affect that. Even like the improper gaskets on your intake manifold, where you're blocking part of the port. or you got an exhaust manifold that doesn't fit right and it's blocking off some of the port. All that stuff can affect your efficiency, right? With a supercharger or a turbocharger, it kind of doesn't matter because you're pushing that. You're going to push that shit in there anyway. You're more or less saying to the engine, you know what? I don't care what your ports look like. Here's a whole pile of air. You're taking it. Whether you want to or not, here you go. Whoosh, right? You're getting it. But that's the cool thing about boost is that you can trick a small engine into believing that it's a larger engine. Like Buddy was saying, if you have a 302 and let's say you give it 7.5 psi of boost, well, you're tricking that engine into thinking that it's more like a 400. If you give it 14.5 pounds of boost, the engine thinks it's a 600 plus cubic inch motor. And if you did your job right, it should make that the power of that bigger engine, ideally, right? But of course, it all depends too, right? There's the main limiting factor when it comes to power production with boost on street engines is the gasoline. I mean, pump gas, you can only make what you can make with it. It's very limited, especially up in Canada where we can't get anything higher than 93 octane. I believe you can get it like Petro Canada, or maybe it's 94. I can't remember. Nova Scotia, the highest grade gas you can get at the pump is 91. That's Shell, V Power Premium Shell fuel is 91 octane. That's the best we got here. So if we want to run any higher turbocharged boost levels, or we want to run higher compression naturally aspirated engines or whatever, we got to run better fuel. And the only way to run better fuel is to either use water meth injection to make your pump gas seem like it's high octane racing fuel. It cools the intake temperatures, or just take a can of that race gas concentrate. I think it comes in like a can like that big, and 2 ounces per gallon will raise your octane like 5 levels. So you can turn like 91 octane fuel into like 94 octane fuel, or 95 octane fuel by adding some of this concentrate. But they're not giving that away either. I think last time I looked, it was around $44 for 32-ounce can, which probably goes pretty quick. But anyway, E85, I'd love to be able to get E85 here in Canada, but you can't. They don't have it. I don't know about other areas in Canada, but I know where I'm from, it's not possible. E85 is the answer as far as high boost levels and high power production. With that fuel, you can make a seriously powerful engine without resorting to race gas. But if I had the ability to have E85, that's definitely the route I'd be going. There's no question about it. I'd build a carburetor for that. I'd have a fuel system for that. I'd make it so that E85 would be, the deal, right? But see, back in the 60s, when they had all these hot muscle cars with the 11.5 to 1 compression ratios and all that, they had what was called leaded pump fuel. And so you could go right to like Shell or Esso, or I guess it was, they had other stations there, Gulf service stations. They had them up here too. And you could get like 110 octane right out of the pump. And like it was some serious power, serious fuel. And it wasn't full of ethanol and all that. So, and you could run some really wicked compression ratios. And of course, there wasn't a lot of boosted stuff. There was some, back then there was some root style superchargers, but hardly anybody had turbochargers or any of that stuff. And I don't think they were even running nitrous back in them days. The other added benefit of the old leaded pump fuel was that it kind of gave the valves a little bit of a cushion. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it gave that when the valves come smacking down on the seats, imagine in 20 minutes how many times the valve goes smacking down on the seat, especially if you're revving it up really fast. The cam turns at half the crankshaft speed, right? So if your crank is going 7,000 revolutions per minute, well, your cam gear is turning half of that. But still, that's a lot of times that valve is going up and down on the seat. So if you get a leaded pump fuel, it used to act as a bit of a cushion so that the seat on the valve would go down and touch the seat just gently. It wouldn't slam down onto the seat. So it used to make the valves last a lot longer, right? And they would burn cleaner because the engines burned hotter back then with that high octane stuff, right? Higher octane fuel is a slower burn in the combustion chamber. It doesn't burn as quickly. So you can run a lot more compression and therefore not get detonation because it's not violently exploding. It's burning evenly and slower. So that's why guys want higher octane fuel for higher cylinder pressure, so you don't have that detonation effect or pre-ignition. Detonation is basically two flame fronts in the combustion chamber slamming together and hitting each other. So let's say you got a spot of carbon on one side of the combustion chamber, and it glows red whenever the cylinder pressure's in there. So it ignites before the spark plug fires the main charge. So you got a fuel charge already moving over towards the middle of the piston, and then the spark plug ignites and causes a second explosion in there. And the two of those explosions join together and they make one mega explosion. And that's what wrecks parts. That's what destroys pistons, brakes, rods, just grenades engines to pieces, is those two flame fronts, right? But anyway, that's kind of, you guys know this stuff anyway. It's just the basics of Canadian Marauder. What's going on, man? Good to see ya. 94 was the best in Canada, but Husky stopped making a few months ago. Ah, what a bummer. You know, see, it's obvious that they don't want us guys out there frigging around with fuel, right? And making good engines and stuff. But you can always still get, I think the last time I looked, you can get a water meth injection kit at Summit for like $400 Canadian. And you just use windshield washer fluid then, right? But I mean, I don't know. It just adds one more level of complexity to an already over complex system, right? It's too bad we couldn't just run what we wanted. Like I was telling Hoppy, E85 would be great if we could get it here in Canada. I'd build all my stuff for E85. And you can make a gobs of horsepower with that stuff, right? Because it's very compression friendly. I mean, there's guys that run stupid boost levels on moderately high compression engines with that. Finish my tea here, fellas. Hoppy's like, no wonder they got rid of it. Here, let me put your comment up here. No wonder they got rid of it. They always get rid of the good stuff. No kidding, man. No kidding. It's the same with spray paint. It's the same with any of that stuff. All the best paint, all the best like chemical strippers and all that stuff. It's all like environmentally friendly to keep the hippies happy. And it doesn't work worth a damn. I remember like spray paint when I was a kid, man, the stuff, it just smelled awful, but it worked. Like it would, once you got it on there, you couldn't get it off with bullets, but can you even buy decent spray paint anymore? I guess you can, but you gotta like go to the parts store and get them to mix you up some the stuff that has real chemical in it. But it's the same with everything now. The environmental police get involved and they ruin everything that's good, right? But what a rough life. Yeah. But anyway, just sounding off here. I'm heading to a buddy's to see about a pump for you. Or are you now? What, has he got a fuel pump? That's interesting. Yeah, like it's just trying to do this on the cheap. If I knew where I could get a good fuel pump that would support what I'm trying to do, I'd be all over it. Let me know for sure. But anyway, if I think of anything else between now and when I have the sip of coffee or tea here, I'll let you know if it's something I can bitch about. But anyway, yeah, so tomorrow I'm not really doing that much. I'm putting a pinion seal in a rear differential for an ATV. It's leaking pretty bad. So I'm going to replace that. And then I got that top end done on that Suzuki King Quad. I'll be giving that back to Buddy this week, I hope. It's supposed to be 14 or 15 degrees all week this week. So at least until Thursday, I think I'm in the clear. So it's always nicer to work out there in that shop whenever the weather's decent and the sun's out. It just makes it easier. It's not heated out there, so I have a wood stove for it, but I just haven't gotten around to putting it in there. I guess I'm gonna have to do that. How long do you where we'll do live stream videos on YouTube? Yeah, they'll let you know when you're allowed to do longer ones. I'm pretty much unlimited. I can go as long as I want, I think. But once you get to a certain point, they'll let you do like watch and do longer videos. But if any of you guys ever want to jump on here with me, whenever I do the weekly announcement in the community tab talking about this stream, just comment down there you'd like to jump on as a guest. What I'll do is I'll send you the link, and then once you click on it, you'll go into what's called the queue for the broadcasting center, and then I just basically add you to the broadcast. So it splits this screen into like a couple of different screens, right? Like, let's see if I can do it here. It'll like split the screen. It may not do it if there's only one person in the broadcasting center. Yeah, it won't. But if I add someone else to the stream, it'll split it like into, I think you can run up to 6 people at once. Only problem is the internet that I have here is junky. It's satellite internet. So it doesn't, I don't really get a really good high speed capability with it. So it kind of craps out. What did it take for, subs? Oh, just, I don't know. You just got to keep working at it. You just try and put out a video a week is a good idea. You want to do stuff that people would be halfway interested in. And initially my channel was about music. Like, I'm a musician. I play music and stuff too. You guys might have seen some of my videos, but I basically just decided I wanted to do a mechanical, like a garage type channel. So I just stuck with that. And then I went from 200 subscriptions up to over 1,000 in 8 months. But don't think that I'm getting rich doing this. I'm not monetized. And when I become eligible to be monetized, I probably won't even bother, because I don't really feel like putting a bunch of ads on these videos. Not that they're like great works of art or anything, but you guys don't want to watch ads. You could always go and get that YouTube app that basically deletes any ads that people are trying to show you. I've got that on my personal channel. So if I go on someone else's site and they get like 50 ads, or I'm trying to watch a movie for free, I don't get them all. I get like none of them. So it does pay. YouTube will pay you so much per view, per video view. I think it's like 3 to 5 cents. So if you've got like, I think I average 7,500 views a month or something like that. If you've got monetization, well, it adds up to a few $100 or whatever. It just depends on what your situation is, right? But I do it for the fun, because I'm a gearhead. I like to see what you guys are building. I like cool shit. I like affordable hot rods that people can afford to own and build and take pride in, right? I like seeing the creative ways people come up and to fix problems that come up with their automotive shit. I'm into motorcycles, obviously, because I'm a motorcycle mechanic, so I'm into bikes too. But I like everything, and I'm not just brand specific. I do like Fords, I got to be honest, but I like Mopars, I like Chevrolets, I like all of them pretty much. I'm not really big into new cars, like modern muscle. I'm mostly an old school guy. That's why I've been fighting tooth and nail to not get anything fuel injected if I can stay away from it. But I do have a daily driver 2008 Sonata that's obviously fuel injected, but I try and stay away from that stuff as much as I can. Just because I like old school. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, right? So all the stuff that was around then was carbureted. It was all like big boats. There's still some muscle cars left. We had a 71 Dodge Demon when I was a kid. Had a 340 with a 4-speed in it. We had some Chevelles. We had some big Pontiacs that were like 40 feet long. Dad had a 66 Chevy Caprice 2-door hardtop. And some other cars when I was a younger guy, still living at home. So yeah, I like them all. I mean, I'm not brand specific. I'm just kind of prejudiced against the new stuff, I guess, right? I like the older stuff. Yeah, I think you should monetize. Why not? Get some money from the big companies. I don't mind commercials. Wouldn't turn me off of your channel. Well, that's cool. I appreciate that. Um, I don't know what's going to happen with that. I still don't have enough watch time hours yet. So whenever that does happen, we'll talk it over again. But I don't want to like make content just so that I can get paid. I mean, that's not why I'm doing it, right? I'm doing like I'm involved in all the automotive channels. You guys have probably seen me over at Nick's Garage or Cold War Motors, or today I went over to Coastal Auto Reaction out in BC. They had a live stream. I was on there. Cold War Motors had a live stream. I think it was last Sunday around noon. I was on that stream, watching that. I like it all, right? So there's cool shit to be learned from everybody, right? And knowledge is power, and that's. But if I was rich as hell, I'd only drive Ford Cameras. I'm with you, Will. I like the side oiler, baby. 427 power for life, right? I'd like to have one of those Thunderbolts. You know, the one I'm talking about, the real lightweight fiberglass Ford factory race car that had the camera in it. That would be cool as hell. I'd take my kids to school on that thing, right? And just rumble in there and do like a 7,500 RPM first to second shift when you're leaving the parking lot. But anyway, yeah, I definitely do that stuff. But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's my whole thinking on it. We had the same thing before the internet, boys. Some of you guys might be too young to remember, but we used to get together and talk cars, and it wasn't like the A&W or anything, but like car parking lots and stuff. I remember back in the 80s, we used to, in 90s even, we'd meet together and on Friday night out in the parking lot, and everybody would bring their cars out, and sometimes we'd race late at night, but we mostly talk hot rods and cars and show people all the cool shit that we did to our car and stuff like that. And all that culture seems to have, it hasn't really gone away, but it's changed in a way that I don't recognize it, if that makes any sense. So that's why whenever I see anybody that's into the old school stuff, I kind of cling on to them, because it just reminds me of, my younger life, let's say, right? And I don't see any reason why that has to disappear. I mean, there's too many people really that go through life and they just give up on their dreams and, the good times and stuff. And I'm not going to be one of them. I fight it tooth and nail, right? Like I fight change. I don't like change, right? So I'm sticking to my guns. But in any case, yeah. So I mean, I do body work and stuff. I can weld. I'm a decent painter. I actually have 6,000 hours on a spray gun. So I mean, I can do some of that stuff too, and probably will as I get further into this truck. I'm definitely going to be painting it at some point, but I want to get it running exactly the way I want it before I even worry about any of that. The truck's already in good shape body wise. The paint's kind of crap, but I don't really care at this point. I just want to make videos and show people ways of doing shit doesn't cost them a fortune, right? And I like, I don't know a whole lot about wastegates and stuff, so I wanted to pull that thing apart and just see what the hell was in there. I mean, I knew there was a spring and a puck and all that other stuff, but I didn't know what I was going to get into when I pulled that apart. And there's a million videos of how to test them. It's not hard to do. So I want to make sure that when I put it on the truck, that it does open right around where I want it to open. So that plus adding more fuel octane plus being conservative with the timing should equal a larger cushion until I get the thing tuned the way that I want it to run, right? I know in my head exactly what I want, right? And I can envision it. But it's going from here to the rear tires is going to be the deal. But anyway, you come across some cool shit once in a while and you like to share it with your buds. So I guess that's what this channel is about. You guys are all my buds. So, let's share cool shit with each other. And I go on your guys' channels too that are in here, and I watch your guys' stuff. And Hoppy, I've watched all your videos. Marauder, I've watched some of yours. Will, I've watched some of yours. I watch everybody's stuff. I may not comment on everything, but I'm in there. You can be sure. And I like seeing what's going on. It's like that Zuko. Let me put his channel back on here again. Go check out his crown with the turbo in it and give it some love. I mean, it's pretty cool. Let me see if I can bring it up here. Oh, wait a minute. I don't even have to do that. Just put a comment. Slowly learning this process. Yeah, so here's his YouTube channel. RUSZKO, Rizuko. I think that's how he calls it. But anyway, he's got an 85 Crown Vic in there. That's got a pretty cool little turbo blow-through setup. Go check it out. Give him some love, some comments on his video, subscribe to him, whatever. And we'll help each other out. I don't know if you guys can just like copy that off the screen, or it'd be nice if you didn't have to actually write this down. But anyway, yeah. I got what's Canadian Marauder saying here? I got about an hour of paint spraying experience. I love it though. Yeah, man. And the only way to learn anything from what I've experienced in life is to do it. You can read all the books you want, but until you actually get in there and start doing it, you'll never learn anything. So just get yourself an Amazon cheap spray gun and friggin' some paint and go at her. Oh, you just have to click the comment. Cool. Yeah, see, I didn't know any of that, Will, because I just discovered this tonight that I can actually put a comment on there or take any one of your guys' comments, like yours, and just it'll click on the screen like that. And then there's a little button there that says hide. You just click on that again to remove it. But yeah, and Hoppy, I don't know if you have the ability on your phone or whatever to do like some live video, but if you're out and about on your trip, if you see something cool, throw up a quick little video about it so we can all enjoy it too. That would be cool. We'd love that. I love anything that's live. And those of you that know me, I got a flip phone, right? Like I'm totally against these flat phones, but there is one advantage to them, and that is you can do like a go live on your phone if you've got data. So I could go out anywhere and just like go live on YouTube and like show you guys some shit that I come across. I mean, I can obviously take a video camera and record it and post it up as a video too, but there's something about the live stuff. I don't know what it is, but it's cool. Like if you're in the middle of doing something or you happen to be on the internet and you see, oh shit, Hoppy just putting a live video up. So I'll click on it and see that he's out in the middle of friggin' Route 66 somewhere and he's just come across some really cool shit. I mean, I love that stuff, right? That's the power of the interweb, right? Which we never had any of that. Yeah, I got a flip phone, Will, and actually the battery's starting to crap out on it. But you know what? I've been able to locate a brand new one, so I'll be staying with the flip as long as I can. That's again back to my distrust of the modern world, I guess. Yes, I think that head Hoppy you're going to get, I don't know all the specs on it, but I think it'll probably be a better deal than what you've got on there now. It'll be easier to tune. So you're saying it was only running on, it looked like it was only running on 2 or 3 cylinders. So why wasn't that 4th cylinder running? Is it a fuel issue or is it a spark issue? I'd be interested in knowing that, because it sounded like it was kind of struggling to run. It almost sounded like it was running out of fuel to me, but I don't know. You've got a new fuel tech set up there, right? So maybe it has something to do with that. Hoppy's like, yeah, it feels like you're hanging out together. Yeah, exactly, right? And we don't all have to be living in the same state or the same country even, obviously, to enjoy each other's stuff, right? So that's the other cool power of the internet, the interwebules. Too many movies where robots take over. Maybe so. Well, that's very possible. Your fuel tech settings. Yeah, I was watching that monitor on your steering column there, and I was looking at there was one video where you had it zoomed in, and you could see like the RPM and all that other your state of charge and blah blah blah. And it'd be cool once you get this new head, you can get that sorted out and get it running on 4 cylinders. I can just imagine what that's going to be like, because I did see the burnout you did when it was running the other way, and it looked pretty stout for what it was, right? So imagine if you had 4 explosions going on instead of just 2 or 3. It'd be even crazier, right? Then you'll be doing clutches for sure, right? Setting adjustment. I did. Let's see let's show that. Yeah, I did some setting adjustments and messed it up. Did all this head work for nothing. It's never for nothing. You got the experience of doing it. And I don't know if you're trading this head to somebody else for something, but you might be able to get a little more out of it as far as price or whatever. Plus, you got the experience of doing it, right? So, see, stuff like that, I don't know. It just never scares me to dig in with both feet into something like that. I mean, I haven't had a ton of head porting experience either, but I didn't even think twice about cutting up those new aluminum heads I got. I mean, I know that the work that I did to them made a difference, right? So I can tell that by the seat of the pants feeling over the other heads, right? It carries RPM a lot better, and friggin' it's stronger everywhere, right? Especially low down. But yeah, man, you'll get it sorted out. I think it's going to be cool as hell. The minute I saw that truck, I was like, oh, this looks interesting. I'm going to click on this, see what's up. And of course, I do go on the internet and just search out Ford Ranger type videos because, obviously I'm interested in that, right? But in any case, yeah. So tonight's the night for me for my monthly bath. So I'm going to definitely be catching one of those after this podcast / spitball session is over. So it's always a fun time. There won't be any rubber ducks in the tub or anything, but I'll be definitely having a nice hot shower and putting on some fresh clothes, and I'll be all ready to go for work in the morning. But in any case, we'll stick on here for a few more minutes. It wouldn't rev over 6,200 before. Yeah, it seemed like it was kind of struggling when you got up in the rev range. And I don't know, it's got to be a setting, something to do with the fuel tech system. If I had to guess, I'd say it's either running out of fuel or it's running out of spark or something is going on. So did you have to call the did you have to call them up and talk to somebody there to get base settings to get that thing to run right? Because I knew you were having it cranking and cranking and cranking and it wouldn't fire, and you eventually got it to fire up. I don't know anything about them fuel tech setups other than they're supposed to be like a plug and play deal, but there's maps and all that in there. But once you get the fueling and all that figured out with the new head, it's going to be a monster. You're going to be giggling like a little schoolgirl when you're driving the thing. I probably will too. I can't wait for that first turbo drive when I get the thing sorted out, and I'm probably going to be hanging half out of the truck screaming so loud, right? Because it's just going to be a riot. It's going to take a little time, a little bit of money, or a lot of money to get there, but we're going to get there. And the thing is, and I don't have any bottles I'll have to go fill up. And my boost hit should be pretty consistent. As long as the turbo's building boost and, it's not over boosting or under boosting, it should all be good. Valve springs before I changed my fuel injector settings. Hang on here. Let me put this up on the screen. They will remote in and tune your stuff to get it going. Okay, cool. Valve springs before. I changed my fuel injector settings, which changed everything. Yeah, it will. It'll definitely change stuff. Yours is going to be insane. Well, I hope it's going to be pretty crazy. But the problem is I like crazy, trust me, but the thing of it is traction. Traction limited. That's going to be the issue. Always is the issue. If you go on the internet and look at all these S10s and all these Rangers that are like super fast, they're screaming. They're the ones that have it figured out. The truck is really hauling ass, but the other ones are just spinning and spinning and spinning. And spinning ain't winning, man. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. There should definitely be some diaper changes on the side of the road, right? There'll be a few depends moments, as I call them. But anyway, yeah. So I guess I'll probably shut her off and go have my monthly bath, and we'll take her from there, fellas. I appreciate y'all taking some time out of your Sunday night to come hang out with your buddy Sean. That's cool. And I'll see all you guys next week, next Sunday, I hope. And I should hopefully get some videos or a video up for you fellas this week at some point about something. I don't know yet, but I'm sure something will crop up. But anyway, thumbs up for Waramp. Stay classy, as always. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. Cheers, fellas.